Ladies and gentlemen, basketball fans of all ages, welcome to Legends Talk, the live show where we sit down with iconic figures in the basketball world and we delve into their untold stories that have shaped their legacies and their careers. Join us as we give these living legends a spotlight to share their experience, their triumphs, and challenges, offering a rare glimpse into the moments that made them icons that they are today. Get ready to be inspired. Get ready to be moved and thoroughly entertained as Legend Talk brings you the firsthand accounts of basketball's most storied heroes. Without further ado, let's honor the game and its greats in a way that only Legends Talk could do. And today we got a very special guest, my guy, Hampton University's finest, Chaz Franklin. We're going to get right into it. Appreciate y'all. Tap in. Yo, yo, yo.
Yo, I
My
appreciate
God,
you.
my God. What's up, man? How you been, man?
Man, good, man. Slow motion and trying to stay busy when I can and just enjoying the off season, man.
Hey, man. A lot of people don't know. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people in my audience. They probably don't recognize you, man. You know what I'm saying? But you, my God, man. You know what I'm saying? And I would definitely wanted to show love.
I
I'm
appreciate
super proud of you, man. Chaz Franklin, everybody, man. Chaz has had a tremendous career, overseas, professional, maybe nearly 15 years, if I'm not mistaken, right?
it. 15 years, yep.
Now he's doing great things with the Chicago Sky. You know what I'm saying? Development. You the what's your role at the Chicago
Yeah,
Sky? Development coach, right?
right, yeah, right. Director of player development, yep.
Director of player development with the WNBA Chicago Sky. And again, he's doing fantastic things, man. And yeah, we're gonna get right into it if you don't mind.
Oh, yeah, that's good with me. Let's go.
Word, word. So Philadelphia, man. You know what I'm saying? Philadelphia. What was it like growing up there, man? And how how did growing up there kind of shape who you are today?
Well, I mean, growing up in Philly was very similar to New York City, especially, the 80s and 90s, man. I mean, I'm from South Philadelphia, man. So a lot of people in Philadelphia or just people in this area, they kind of compare South Philly, like Beanie Siegel was on the podcast talking about. It would be equivalent to like Brooklyn, right? So,
Right.
the same struggle that most of us come up with. We grew up in public housing, man, and wick cheese and playing in the fire hydrant and shooting on milk crates, and you come up in that crack era, man. I don't really like go too far into that part of it, because I'm just blessed to be here now. But that was my upbringing, where we come up, it didn't feel like we had too many options. Now as an adult, I kind of see it differently. But at that time, man, you was a basketball player or you was a hustler. You was in the streets, and I mean, my family business, they was a street family growing up, right? I
Right.
wasn't much of a street guy, man. So I went over to the basketball side. Now, that kind of worked out for me.
Now, of course, man. Like they said, man. Like either you selling crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot.
Right. Yep.
And for a lot of us, man, that was a reality, man. And basketball. I say it again and again, man. Basketball teaches stuff that classroom just doesn't teach, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But how did basketball, in general, how did it become such a significant part of your life, and who introduced you to the game?
Oh man. Well, like I said, in my neighborhood, man, in South Philadelphia, it started just with the older guys at the schoolyard. Even before I was too young to really play. You would kind of play like with the other kids, but when the older guys was playing, you were a runner, right? So they was just sending me to the store to get quarter waters and chips the whole day, and I'm just watching them play and listening to stories. They would talk about Black Jesus, Earl to Pearl Monroe. They would talk about Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, Earl Monroe is from South Philly. He's from my neighborhood. So it goes as far back as that. Just them kind of instilling that pride in your community, and just helping you to understand that it's bigger than you. You represent something bigger than you. And I was just always into the history and all the storytelling, man. I just love to see the guys go at it. Like most of the parks in the schoolyards, in the inner city, man. We had guys that were in Philadelphia. We got something called the Big Five, which is actually 6 Division I universities now in Philly. So you would have guys, Division I guys playing, in the Big Five, and then you would have on that same court at the park, man, shooters, hustlers, drug dealers, a UPS guy, a high school guy, the top 8th grade in the country. So you had to, navigate through all that, man. This is all on one court, right? So you were kind of learning the history. You were learning, how to survive. You were learning to love the game. You were learning. We couldn't flop and you couldn't fall, because if you fall, you break your neck. You're playing on concrete, right? So I kind of just developed the love in that way. You had to learn how to be tough. You had to learn how to read when someone was bluffing. Oh, you know what? I've had guys, you know what? You foul me one more time. I'm going to do this. And you got to learn how to read it. Oh, man, is he serious? And then I had another guy tell me once, next person foul me, I'm going to shoot you. And I'll do it. And here go the thing. I know he had already shot 3 dudes around. I'm like, oh, this guy shoot me. So he had 40 that night. I'm like, you got it, bro. Oh, you got it that night. So you got to learn how to read the situation. And that's kind of how I grew up. And I'm appreciative and grateful for that. Just at this point, I'm blessed to be at this level, but it's nothing like how I grew up. So, I can't have a bad day in the WNBA just based on where I come from.
Nah, that's crazy, man, because like you said, man, you got to learn how to read the room and read people. Right. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, I definitely was part of that next person found me. I'm yeah, so definitely and either you're gonna play and you're gonna play, you still gonna play physical, or you're gonna back down, and once you back down, you fooled at that point.
Then you're done at that point, right? Yep.
Yeah. And once you fooled once, you know what I'm saying, you're gonna be fooled every time. So, you know what I'm saying, it's a learning experience for sure. Growing up in places like this.
Yep.
But when did you realize that it was, something that you wanted to kind of pursue, or you wanted to really take further, thinking that you were pretty good?
Well, my reputation is more so like being a late bloomer. It was super competitive, in my neighborhood, man. So I didn't think, I played well, maybe since maybe 6th, 7th grade. I was doing all right. You had your little tournaments, in the neighborhood, or you might go to a different part of Philly, or, we might drive down to DC. It wasn't AAU back then, not in Philly. We didn't really have AAU, but we would just play like a Charlie Weber tournament, or maybe go to Delaware. We have a Philly, New York game, that kind of thing. And I was doing okay. I wasn't dominating anything like that. I'm like, oh, I'm all right. But there was so many other guys that were just I felt like they were better than me because they were older than me. But now in retrospect, these guys, was 1,000-point, 2,000-point scorers at the NCAA Division I level. So I never really felt like, oh man, you know what? I'm this great basketball. I could hold my own, you know what I mean? But, it didn't really click for me probably until a little later, probably after high school.
That's tough, man. Like you said, it's just, you're seeing the people, you're seeing the big names of the, like you said, 1,000-point scorers, and he goes to this school, and he's getting recruited. So yeah, it could be intimidating, but you were able to navigate that, man. What high school did you attend? And were you one of the best players on that team, on your high school team, or were you a role player? How'd that go for you?
So I went to Central High School. So for those of you who are not familiar with Central is the academic school of Philadelphia, right? It's branded as what Princeton University or Harvard would be. So I went all the way uptown to go to school because I qualified academically. So that was a culture shock thing for me. Right. The people that I went to school with, that was the first time that I was introduced to middle class Black people. I had never seen anyone that was Black, that wasn't poor like me, right? So that was the first thing. It was the first time I got introduced to Asian people that didn't work in the Chinese store on the corner, right? There was a whole lot of, I didn't know what I didn't know what an Indian person was,
Right,
right?
right.
And I consider myself to be pretty smart, you know what I mean? So I went up to Central, and I was I'm a South Philly guy, so we used to say we were downtown guys, and I was a downtown guy going uptown, taking that 40-minute train ride every morning. And like I said, I was like a late bloomer, man. My mom was big on academics, so I couldn't even try out for the basketball team as a freshman. Right, my mom was like strict, man. It was like she had an issue with me playing basketball. So I used to sneak like and play basketball. It wasn't something that I was allowed to do. I mean, I was playing in every tournament, every day, all day, three, 4 tournaments at a time, right, during the summer. I would lie and say, oh, we had study hall, or I had tutoring after. I was picking up all types of stuff, right, just to go play. And so I didn't play varsity basketball until 11th grade at Central. I really should have been on the team in 10th grade. I played JV in 10th grade, right? But I didn't make varsity until 11th grade. And even then, I didn't play a lot. It was a bit of a pecking order there, and I was good, but probably, now that I look back at it, I wasn't like I didn't really unleash who I really was, right? More so until after college. I don't know why that was. You know what I mean? I think it's something that a lot of kids suffer from at this, that, I talk to a lot of kids now, and, it's not that they're not talented, but, you got to be willing to break a couple of eggs to make an omelet, right? And so I think that young people, you want to be great, like you want to stand out, but at the same time, you want to fit in. In order for you to stand out, you got to ruffle some feathers, man. You gotta be at a few people. You got to be at people. You got to be a bit confrontational when you need to be. I had that in me because that's where I was from, but it was like up there, I didn't want to be perceived as that kind of guy. So I more so tried to fit in, when I should have just strong armed the whole situation. That's what I, in retrospect, that's what I should have done. Right. That's what I was trained to do. But, I was trying to fit in, man. So, that was to my detriment athletically, but ultimately for my development, it helped me.
Right, right. So, I mean, in terms of like, I mean, I obviously know that you know what I'm saying, ultimately went to Hampton. But
Mhm.
during your high school days, was there any like recruiting going on? Like, did you
Yeah.
receive any letters from any colleges interested, or how how'd that work out for you?
Yep. So, like most kids in the 90s, I graduated in 99. It was like D1 or nothing, right? It
Right,
was
right.
Division 1 or nothing. And I had a bunch of D2s and D3s, right? My first listen, this is my first letter I ever got, right? Was from a Division 3 called Hamilton College. It's on
I
Long
know that.
Island.
Okay, that's
Uh-huh.
in
Yep.
New York. Is it New
Uh-huh.
York?
Yep. Uh-huh. And my second one was Dowling College, right? Right? Also in that area. But Hamilton, it was like D3. They had all these D3 All-Americans, right? And I got it, and I looked at it, and my man was like, oh, man, you go to college. I'm like, man, I'm not going there, right? And I ripped it up, right? And I ripped it, but you're 17, right?
Right.
Now, my family, they didn't play basketball like that. I'm like some of us did, but for the most part, they were different kind of guys. So I didn't have mentorship. You know what I mean? I didn't have we didn't even go to college, right? So I'm kind of blazing the trail at this point, for the most part.
Right.
And so I didn't have anybody to say, yo, man, you're not going D1. You're averaging 12.
Right.
You're 5'10" and you're averaging 12, and you just became a starter. You need to go to prep school or you need to do something, but you're not going to Temple. But in my mind, you couldn't tell me I wasn't going to Division 1. So I guess you got to be like a bit delusional to be successful. I mean, at that particular point, maybe it hurt me a little bit, but ultimately, like once again, it ended up working out because I just had I don't know, this utmost belief in myself for whatever reason.
Nah, that's crazy because we kind of had a similar story in that regard because I could have swore I was going to North Carolina or or Georgetown or something like that. So, when I'm getting these William and Mary and I mean, although those are Division 1,
Right.
even Hamilton and a bunch of D3s and what I'm saying, I was like, I'm not going there.
Right.
Like, where is that? Like, I'm looking at the brochure. I'm like, nah, I'm much better than this.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of ironic, man. I definitely heard that name before. But like, so when did you make the decision, like saying, "Hey, man, I'm gonna go to Hampton"? And did you even, did you even fathom, "Hey, I'm a walk on the team, or I'm gonna play ball, or I'm gonna give it a shot"? Like, how did that? What was that in your psyche? What was it saying to you when you made that decision to go to Hampton?
So my godfather went to Hampton, right? He went to Hampton. He's from Virginia, so he kind of put that bug in my ear. Oh, you should consider Hampton, consider HBCU. I said, okay, okay. And what I did is I went down for high school day, right? So you go down there in April. We East Coast kids, right? So the sun is sparkling off the Chesapeake Bay, right? I had never seen Southern women at that time. I didn't understand, what thick was at the time. I thought but now you know what I mean. You was there, right? And so I made a uninformed decision. I went. They had the big parade, spring football game. They had the dance team called Ebony Fire, and they marching around. They was like 15 Beyonces, right? They walked there in onesie. You was there, right? And I didn't know anything about financial aid, FAFSA. I didn't know like I should go talk to the coach. I didn't know none of that. All I knew was I'm coming. I'm going, Paul. I'm going. I'm going. Right? I'm going. And so I went, right? Great decision, but terrible decision because it was so but you 17, 18, man, you just doing, whatever you feel like doing at this point. So,
Right.
and that's how, and I was thinking, oh, I'm gonna be all right. I'll just make it when I get there. I'm gonna make it when, it's fine. I'm from South Philly. I'm gonna make it when I get there. Watch. And that's all. And that was my decision-making process. I'm going.
Hey, we had again, man, similar process. You know what I'm saying? But my process, when I went to prep school, I kind of like did a reclass year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And one of my homeboys that went to school with me, he was already at Hampton while I was still in prep school, and he's like, "Yo, it's crazy down here. What you were talking about." And
Mm-hmm.
he was always like, "Yo, I'm gonna talk to you later, man. I'm about to go to the Jay-Z concert, man."
Oh,
I'm like, "Oh man, I'm about to go to study hall." You know what I'm saying? So I was
yeah,
like, "I'm coming, man. The next
right,
year I'll be there. I'm gonna walk on that team, no problem." You
right.
know. But how confident were you in kind of locking up a roster spot? And now you didn't have a scholarship. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So how difficult was it to actually walk on the basketball team at Hampton University?
Well, it was really challenging. Um, One thing about HBCUs that I think people that they don't understand is that because the student population is all, like 99.9% African American, right? Um, you're going to get some basketball players. You're going to get a ton of basketball players on campus, right? On the yard that may not necessarily be on the basketball team, right? It's the same way growing up in the inner city, right? Same way at all the universities, right? We have high schools in Philadelphia. Same thing in New York City. I know for sure, right? Um, you got these guys that's on the team, and then you got these other guys walking around. They just got terrible grades, but they're better than some of the guys on the team, right? So
Right.
that's how it kind of is in the HBCU. Not saying that it was random guys just walking around campus better than the start point guards at Hampton, because that's a tough. I mean, Hampton's a Division I school and the best team MEAC at that time, right? You got two MEAC championships or something out of that team, right? But so it was challenging. I mean, it was murderer's row. I think one of the things that helped me was I was always I had a fear of failure. So in preparation, I kind of knew, all right, look, it's going to be 100 guys in there. Everybody's going to shoot, dribble, pat. They're going to do. It's like a camp situation, right? You go to these like an ABCD camp or a Nike camp or exposure camp, right? Everybody's they're taking a lot of shots, shooting the ball a lot. So I said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna work myself into a world class physical conditioner. That's what I'm gonna do. So for that whole time leading up to tryouts, man, maybe 6 weeks out, you would have thought I was trying out for the track team, because everything that I did, at Hampton, you didn't even have a gym for us to play pickup in, right? We weren't, we played at the schoolyard, like, behind Harkness Hall, or, we couldn't play like in the practice. So I really couldn't play so much, right? So I spent all my nights on the track, just running 400 repeats, just one sprint, one time around, relax 30 seconds, do it again, that kind of thing. So I said, well, at least if I can't shoot, I'll be able to defend. I was always athletic. I know I can jump. So if I can defend, if I can jump and be intense, play hard, and, you're going to be a walk-on. So, you're not going in there to average 30. You're going in there to play a part. I knew my grades were good, right? So I was like, that'd probably be my best way to try to get on because, everybody's going to be trying to score. But if I can pick up 94 feet, maybe get some steals, get on the break to show that I can dunk, that kind of thing. I look like a division player.
You was flying out there.
Oh, I appreciate it, man.
But, like, and again, man, we had that similar, kids. I want y'all to, the kids that are watching this, man, I want y'all to know that Chaz and I, we both were at the same, we have very similar stories, man. And, when he said that, he was at the track every day, what I'm saying, and he's doing certain things to kind of get himself physically and mentally prepared. I wasn't doing that. You know what I'm saying? I was, I was just comfortable with the just freedom of being somewhere where nobody had to tell me what to do and nobody had to wake me up and tell me, yo, go work out or go, what I'm saying? Nobody had to do that. Nobody even cared about me doing that per se. So, what I'm saying? That's the difference, kids. And you got to kind of be self-motivated. But with that, man, as a walk-on player at Hampton University, what kind of motivated you to keep going, man? No scholarship, but you had to do everything that the other players were doing. You know what I'm saying? Was it at all discouraging? You know what I'm saying? Waking up 4 or 5 in the morning, running, and no scholarship to call your own. Like, how did that go?
Right. Well, it was very extremely. It was a blessing. It was a blessing and it was a curse at the same time. On one hand, 1% of high school players get to make a Division I roster. So I'm like, oh man, I'm in the 1%. I'm blessed because of that, right? On the other hand, I'm a walk-on and I'm not coming from a good situation back home, right? So my family was struggling back home, to say the least. And basketball wasn't, as a walk-on, you're getting very limited opportunities, right? Even at practice, you're on the team, but you might not even be in the scrimmage, right? You might just kind of go through some drills, do some things, kind of be just, you're there to serve more so than try to impress. And, the coach at the time, Steve Murphy, he was from Indiana, man. He was a taskmaster, so he didn't play it wasn't no attitudes, it wasn't no faces, it wasn't. I didn't have those liberties, you know what I mean? So, you put your smile on, man, grin and bear it, and just be happy to be there. But for me, it was mentally taxing. But at the same time, I didn't have much to go back home to anyway, right? So, I was cool with it. I just tried to constantly remind myself of that. Hey, man, you know what? You're the Division I basketball team. I'm learning a lot. Some of the guys came from Clemson and Syracuse who had transferred there. So it was a really good opportunity for me to kind of measure myself against guys that I know had been at the highest level of college basketball. And it helped even though I wasn't playing, when I did get to kind of compete against them in practice, I said, okay, well, I know that I can do this. Now, I always thought that I could do it, but now it's confirmed. I just need a better opportunity. Yep. So that's kind of what it meant for me.
That's a fact, man. And did they actually end up giving you a scholarship? Like, did that make you, did they end up giving you a scholarship after years on the team, or how did that work out?
No. So what ends up happening for me is I am on the team, and then so after that second semester, they're bringing in maybe two more transfers or something like that. One was a guard, right? So the writing is on the wall for me. At the same time, I can't get my financial aid together, right? So Hampton has a thing called out by 5, right? You do something crazy, out by 5. You get in trouble, out by 5. They didn't tell me this. You can't pay your tab, you out by 5, right?
Out by 5. Hey, yeah, I was out by 5 a couple times, man.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I was out by 5 every semester. It felt like trying to, go through financial aid. We were struggling, right, back home. So between me not being able to pay my bill, me not getting any time, 2 new transfers coming in. You know, the coach like, hey, look, man, this, you know, it's getting kind of, this roster's looking a little heavy here. You know what I mean? We need to do some trimming. And I'm like, oh, you ain't even really got to worry about it for me, brother, because I'm about to be on the train back to Philly anyway, like for real. So, you know, I didn't graduate from Hampton. You know, I never got a scholarship. You know, they kicked me out. I didn't have the resources to stay. You know, in retrospect, I mean, I was in the National Honor Society in psychology. So therefore, I should have been a full academic scholarship student.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm coming from ignorance. I don't know that I'm entitled to this money. If you got a 3.8 GPA and you poor and you can bounce the ball, right? You can go to school for free. That's how it goes. I didn't know any of these things. So, man, I went back home, man, and started working on like odd job, like construction type jobs at a thing called Labor Ready, right? So like Labor Ready is this thing where you go, it opens up at 5:30 in the morning, right? And you got to wake up at 4:30. This is Philly, just like New York City. It's freezing. It's January. It's freezing. Yeah. I'm 19 years old, right? 19 years old. No, I was 20. I was 20 years old. So once again, I had the choice, like, well, are you going to go into family business? What you going to do? Right? You going to go into family business, or you going to grind it out? Because I still wanted to play ball.
Right.
So, man, I'm waking up 4:30 in the morning because you have to get the Labor Ready before all the smokers and crackheads get there. That's how it works.
They're gonna take all of that.
All the job, right? It's a labor job. So you go, you work your 8 hours, they pay you $6 an hour, and then they pay you in cash at the end of the day. Right? So what's that, $48? Right. Then they take some of it. Right. So you really got like $38, something like that. And I'm out there, and you getting there, you got to get to that line, man, like before they all, because it's wrapped around the corner. You got to get in the line and hope you get a job. I did that for a year, bro. Straight up just grinding like that, just like playing, like doing that in the morning. And then when it got nice outside, playing ball after that the rest of the day. And that was my life at 20 years old.
I didn't know that, bro. I thought you graduated from Hampton. I didn't know that.
Nope. Now, isn't that crazy? For homecoming that we just had, they had an HU alumni, top HU alumni in pro sports thing. Yeah. And I was on the panel. And I thought it was such a full circle moment for somebody like me, coming from where I come from, because I for sure was out by 5. They kicked me out, right? Bang, the train home, and that was it for me. So it's funny how life kind of turned around for you. But yeah, I never graduated from Hampton.
Wow, that's an amazing, you know what I'm saying? You got an amazing story, man. Like in terms of like, you know what I'm saying? When did you make up your mind saying, hey, man, or when did that opportunity of even exploring an overseas situation with basketball, like how did that happen for you, man?
Well, so I ended up, transferring and going to graduate from a Division II university in Rochester, New York, Roberts Wesleyan College. And I was there, there was a lot that happened in between then, but ultimately I ended up at Roberts Wesleyan College. And, as fate would have it, there was a gentleman by the name of Roosevelt Bowie. He played center at Syracuse for like in the 80s, big guy, 6'10", 6'11". He was there watching his niece play the game before ours. Because at D2, the women play then the men's game a lot of times, most times, right? So he watches his niece play, and then he just sticks around. And he played in Italy for a long, like 20 years, real long time. Right. And here I am, right? And it's a small Christian school. I'm still, just as ghetto as ever. And I had a chip on my shoulder at that point because I got kicked out of school. I'm like a construction worker. I'm like, all this kind of. So I'm like, I'm different at that point, like from them for sure. And I'm just playing hard, man, and like, just doing what I got to do. And he took notice of me and said, hey, man, I want you to. I think you could play professionally. I'm like, oh, here go another guy. Another guy selling me a dream. Well, look, I'm trying to graduate, homie, like that, and that was it. And he ended up hitting me up that summer. Oh, come down to Syracuse, man. We're going to have this camp. It's going to be all these players there from Seton Hall and Syracuse. And he wasn't lying. They were there. And I was like, nobody, right? And I went, and I was like, look, man, I ain't really got nothing to lose. My situation back home ain't really all that great. and I just went at it, like just went after everybody. And I played pretty well during the camp. You might remember this name. It was a gentleman. Actually, you will remember this name. His name is Donald Copeland.
Yeah.
No, right?
Yeah, I know.
After Andre Barrett, right? And he was there. And so, like, on his bracket of the camp, he was killing everybody on that side. And then on my side, I was doing pretty well too. So then we played against each other, like in this big camp game. And so we going at it. And he's like, he's not so tall. You know what I mean? So, and I'm not tall, but I could jump. So I felt like I could score on him. You know what I mean? But he was a tough cover as well. So we were going back and forth, right? And then with my team, we ended up losing the game, but I had a good showing. The camp situation is not so much about winning; it's about showing what you can do. You're on a showcase for these scouts there, and I went, and right after that game, I was kind of upset because I'm a sore loser. I'm still a sore loser. We lost. Like, right? I'm walking off the court with an attitude. Guy from Germany walks right up to me. Hey, Franklin, come here. You want to come play overseas with Germany? And I'm like, hell yeah. And that's how that was my agreement right there. It didn't take much.
Wow.
Yep. I didn't know for how much money. It didn't matter. I just knew I wasn't going back to Section 8 housing. That's all I knew. I ain't going back. So I'm going to Germany, I guess. And that's how I went.
That's fire, man. And that's fire, man. So tell me about, what I'm saying? So now you're on this plane. You're on this plane going to Germany, right?
Yep.
And what I'm saying? What's going through your mind, man, when you touch down and what I'm saying? Like you don't know the language. There's a culture shock. What I'm saying? Like there's a difference in just everything, man. Like what kind of things did you go through? Just kind of stepping off that plane and just kind of stepping into this brand new environment and a whole new world.
Right. Well, I'll walk you through it. The first thing is we get 4 hours into the flight. So we're over the Atlantic Ocean. It's a red eye, right? Pitch black outside. Dude gets on the microphone. Yo, we got to turn the plane around. What? Yeah, it might be some type of propeller issue. We're going to turn around. I was like, God damn, here we go. Now, I done worked all my life, right, to try to get paid. And I'm like, yeah, that's my life. It's like everybody hates Chris like situation, right? I bust my behind. I go through this. I go through that, right? My grandma died. My brother get killed. I go this, I'm poor, I'm this, right? I go bald prematurely. Bang. But I'm going overseas. Now I'm going to die in a plane crash. And I never get to play ball, right? That's what I'm thinking was going to happen. So we turn back. We make a U-turn. We stay overnight one time. One night, bang, now we're going back to Germany. Cool. I finally make it. I'm in Europe now. I don't know, if you've ever been to Europe, but the first thing I noticed in Germany was it smelled different. It's hard to describe a smell, but it's just different.
Yeah, I've never been out there.
Yeah, it's just different. I don't know how you describe. It's clean. That's what it was. It was clean. It was clean. Right? Yeah, that's probably what it was, right? You get so used to dysfunction. Right, It was functional.
It ain't smell like piss in the staircase.
Right. Yeah, I did. Right. I'm riding the subway to school every day. Right. So you see piss and homeless guys and just anything you can imagine. You know what I mean? So but it didn't smell like it smelled fresh. It was fresh air.
With all due respect with that, you know what I'm saying? Definitely.
That's it. Of course. Like these are my people. I probably relate more to those kind of people than I did to people, at the higher end of the scale. You know what I mean? Right. So, but that's what it was. And the first thing I noticed was I went, I'm walking through the airport and I go to get a Slam magazine, right? Slam. And I go. And what they have is their pornography is like rampant, right? So in America, if it was like a Playboy magazine or something, it's in plastic and it's in the back. Like it's not like next to Sports Illustrated, right?
Right.
There, yo, man, I walk in there, I go to the Slam joint, right? Because I had every Slam from 96 on. Everyone. Like everyone. I kept the posters on the wall the whole night. That was a thing. You know what I mean?
Shout out to my guy Dennis Quinn, man, over there at Slam, too.
Hey, man, look, keep doing your thing. Look, I'm a Slam baby. Like that raised me. You know what I mean? My first one I had was the Stackhouse one when he doing the cross. I had to skip every last one of them I had. I'm spending my whole little $38 on Slam. Right? So you go over there, I go to get Slam. I get smacked in the face with full frontal nudity. Straight up full frontal. And I don't mean like like breast. I'm talking about the whole package. Right?
The
The
whole
whole
kit
nine.
and caboodle.
Yeah, the whole nine. The whole nine. I'm like, damn, this
Right.
is they wilding over here. Like, damn, it's like
Like
real.
that.
So that was the first thing that I remember. You know what I mean? It's just kind of walking to the airport. I'm like, yeah, I'm somewhere different. Like for sure. And then you know, you get to your apartment. I was in a place called Weizenfels, right? Which is East Germany. So you got to remember in 2006, that's when I started. The wall in Berlin, maybe it was 20 years prior to it coming down or something like that. It hadn't been that long. So like the wall that Hitler had to like separate all the Nazi guys from like the other guys.
Right.
So it was like mad racists. They love basketball, right? But you're there, and right across from my apartment, they got a swastika spray painted right across the wall, like on the wall. Right. But the difference was with those, like at 20 years, like I guess in the Nazis they were different. But when I was there, they were racist, but they were like low key, like quiet. They wouldn't like say anything to you, right? But
just look at you. Or...
they look at you funny, just stare at you, right? But when I come up, you know, in South Philly, we was on the line between like the black neighborhood and the Italian neighborhood. So we would always get into fights and stuff with the Italian guys. So the difference was between how I grew up and there was that these guys was like low-key racist. The Italian guys, like they spit in my man's face before.
Right.
At the time.
They were out there with it.
It was different. They spit in his face, right? We got to this big thing, and we were like kids, we were like 14. They were like grown men, like trying to beat us with sticks. I don't know where they got sticks from at a basketball court. It was different. So I didn't really mind the racism because I was like, look, the Italians from where I grew up, you know, I got a bunch of Italian friends, but it's just how it was, like in the 80s and 90s in South Philly, right? They would spit in your face and call, yo, get out of our neighborhood, you effing, you know what?
Yeah, right.
So I was used to that kind of racism. So these guys just staring at me, like, oh, I ain't worried about you. Just pay me my money, right? And watch this dunk I'm about to do. And that was it.
Wow, that's so. Now, I mean, you're competing against their teams, and I'm sure, you know, I've seen footage where, you know, the games are really intense, and you know what I'm saying, the fans are really, you know, really intense, and they're really boisterous, and you know what I'm saying, like, did you experience anything from there from a perspective of, you know, you beating their team and now you got to walk through the tunnel and people throwing stuff at you or something like that, or you know, or was it kind of laid back? And
well, in Germany it was pretty much laid back, but throughout the course of my 15-year career,
yeah,
man, listen,
I'm sure you experienced some stuff like that, like, you know,
three bench clearing brawls.
Wow.
One time in Central America, we had to be extracted by the military police because, so I get into this thing with this guy. We, you know, got this thing, me and this guy, just talking, you know, competitive. We talking, right?
In English? Oh,
so you're
talking in basketball, like
yeah. Well, he's calling me every Spanish cuss word in the book, right? Which is fine. I don't mind, you know, because I'm calling him stuff too, right? So we call each other stuff, and it's this lady, and she's like cursing me out on the front row, right? This lady, and so I score on him, and I got an and one. Is a jump shot, so a 4-point play, and I walked over to her, and I said, I told her, I said, oh, shut up, you're a pig, to be funny. She was, you know, she was rounder. She said I called her a pig. I didn't call her a pig. I called her a pig, right? Homie gets mad, and instead of hitting me, it was like a deflection kind of thing, right, displacement kind of thing. He elbows my man in the head, my teammate. So my man fall down. He steps on his head, right? So now my man on the ground, his head gets stepped on. So they eject the other guy. I'm still standing over there arguing with the lady and her family, right? I didn't call you that, but this is all this is going on. They eject homie. He walks past our bench. My teammate Luis Mario gets up. Bam! Dude is out. So he's on the floor. They come out the stands. We're on the road. They come out the stands. I'm like, damn.
That's crazy.
You can't beat up a stadium. I don't care who you think you are. You can't beat up a stadium.
Right,
And you
right.
can't, like, it ain't no way, like, you can fight. You just got to, you got to go back to back. So now we in the middle, like, kind of just, looking around, seeing what's going to happen. Because they want to fight, but they won't be the first person to really run in there like that. They won't rush us. It's just one brave guy. Yeah, you know how it go.
Right, right.
So we standing there. I'm like, I don't know how are we going to get out of this arena? And the military police coming like the New York Times, bam, 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 knock them out the way. Oh, right, like the cavalry. They got the M16s like this. Wow. They put us in the middle of the circle. They form a square. I guess it's a formation military type thing, right? And the guys are sitting there and they're like cursing and doing all that stuff. And they like acting like they're gonna rush us. And every time they run up, the military police is pointing them right at them like this. And I'm still talking my stuff, right? And I'm like, yeah. You know what's up? Because now I know I'm good, right? And they're not gonna do that with the cops. So they they put us in a square. We're in the middle of the square, and they walk us through the tunnel. And they spit on me, right? That's disgusting. So now I really want to like do something, but I can't beat up no, you know what I mean? So they're spitting on you, they're throwing stuff on you. You didn't get to shower, your jersey was soaking wet, and we didn't get to get our stuff in the locker room, nothing. You got on the bus, and they did like a motorcade all the way back to our city, and that was just one game.
That's wow, right there. I'm sure you was ready to go home after that.
You know what? It was crazy, right? It was crazy because sometimes you grow up in so much dysfunction.
Right.
Like I didn't feel bad. Like I didn't feel like, oh man. I felt it was kind of, in retrospect, it was a dangerous situation now that I'm 42 years old. Right. But when you're young, it was funny.
Right. You in it. So
yeah, it's like maybe, you know what I mean, your mind's not all the way like, I don't know. But at that time, it was hilarious because like for one, like I was laughing because my teammate got knocked out. Like, why you let that dude knock you out? You let that little guy knock you out. So we're making fun of him, right? Because you got beat up by a guard. Like that's for one. And then we're laughing at the other guy, my teammate, because he sucker punched this guy. And I'm like, he said, "You're a good teammate. You're all right with me, man. Yeah, you must be from Philly." That's how I was just kind of joking with him like that, right? And it was just funny. We just laugh. And on the ride home, you don't have Gatorades on the bus. They got Coronas on the bus. Right? So it's the craziest thing. They don't have Gatorades, right? So you're not hydrating after the game. Guys are drinking Corona, so you're just cramping back up. You're just people drinking Coronas. So you're catching Charlie horses on the way back, and you just ride your 3 hours back home in the middle of the night in South America. And that's just what it is. So it was just, I got a million crazy stories about being overseas, man.
I'm sure you've been there. You was there for nearly 15 years, man.
Yeah.
That's where you were coming home, in the off seasons and things like that, right?
Yeah, during the summertime. Yep. Summer.
I mean, how did you, after you've done a ton of coaching. You were doing I know you're doing some things with Pangos with the evaluating of the youth basketball situation. You did the TBT,
right?
Which is super dope as well. But like, how did you leverage, your playing career, your brief, well, you even coached internationally. I definitely want to know about that, man. How did you kind of get into coaching, and especially like internationally, where there's a culture difference, and you may not necessarily know the language, or maybe you did know the language after 15 years, but how did you leverage your playing career and go into coaching, especially coaching internationally?
Right. So I played till I was 40 years old. Right. At 37, yeah, that was I just never would have thought that in my life, but I played till I was 40. And so when I was 37, my agent at the time, he said, "Look, man, I gotta, like, you old. I mean, you could play all right, I guess, right? You shoot a lot, you know what I mean? But I guess you could do all right. But I got a unique situation for you. A team in Iceland, they want a player coach, right? And he said, I think it would be good for you because what do you want to do when you retire? I want to coach. Okay, so this will give you the opportunity, right, to get your feet wet in coaching, right, while you're still playing, and you can get paid for both jobs. So I was like, all right, bet. So at first I thought that he was like an assistant coach on like a youth team or something like that. But what it ended up being was me being the head coach of our senior team, so like our men's team. So I had like our professional senior team, like a U20 team and a U15 team. Just me. And I'm the head coach. Right. So and then in Iceland, it's not a lot of resources like how it is here. Right. So I'm learning how to do all my own scouts, cut up my own video. Right. We didn't have a crazy budget to go recruit players from other places in Europe. So the guys that I had to help them get better because this is who you got. Right. So
this is what you got. You got to work with it.
You got to work with them. You got to get them better. Right. So quiet as kept. I'm working on I'm working player development. That's what it's called. I'm thinking we're just working out.
Right.
But I think God always has a plan. So now it's becoming player development. I'm learning how to scout, like video edits, like sports code, that kind of thing. Right. And then I'm doing in-person scouts. Okay. And we're winning. And the year before I arrived, they were 0-25. So my first year, we went to the finals, right? And we got slapped in the finals, but we got to the finals, right? So now it's this weird thing for me because I'm literally the only Black coach in Iceland, the whole country. It's me, right? So it was this crazy stigma because over there, overseas just in general, right? It's expected that African American players will be able to come over and play well. That's kind of why they bring you, right?
Right.
But what's different is that.
But it's stereotypical.
Stereotypical. But when you start talking about coaching, now you're talking about leadership.
Right.
I don't know, just problem solving.
Yeah, more intelligence that goes behind actually coaching,
right,
and just running and jumping and dunking and you know what I'm saying, like being athletic, like they expect us to kind of be.
So that was a problem for a lot of people at times there. I don't know that I don't think they had a problem with me per se.
Right.
I just think that I was just grossly underestimated. So like for one, growing up in the 80s and 90s in the East Coast, like on the I Want to Be Like Mike campaign, I was in love with I am in love with basketball. So I was like, I used to like wake up at 8:00 in the morning and watch and tape on the VHS tape NBA Inside Stuff with Ahmad Rashad and Willow Bay. If you were a kid, that was your idea of you watching film. I'm gonna watch it over there. I want to see how you do this. That you don't know you're being groomed, right, for something. One, and then just like New York City, Philadelphia, same way. Guard heavy cities.
Right.
Everybody's a guard unless you're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, right, or Wilt Chamberlain. But everybody else is a guard, right? So what do you have to be a guard? You're not bigger than anybody. What do you have to learn to do? Think. Damn, how I do this, how I do that, how I do that. And I'm a point guard. So I've been bossing people around my whole doggone 15 years, right? I know you have to know what everybody has to do on the floor. So, and then I went to Central High School. So, I learned how to play chess as a child. These are just little things that just say, hey, man, you got to be thinking proactively. You got to be not a move ahead, 2 moves ahead. Cause and effect, these kind of things. So as a coach, they're thinking, and I'm an animated person. So I think sometimes what got lost in the sauce is they would, like when they would write about it in the paper or say, talk about it, whatever, it's every other word but intelligent. Oh, he's inspirational. Oh, the leadership. Oh, he got those guys playing hard. Oh, they playing well. Oh, he's passionate. But sometimes when they talked about the other European coaches, right, that we were beating the snot out of, right? Oh, he's clever. Oh, he's a great X and O guy. Oh, I just watched the adjectives that was being kind of, you know what I mean, put on those guys versus being put on me, and that just fueled the fire. And then we would get to these places, like, I guess there's another story, right? In Reykjavik, we're in the semifinals. And this is 2021, man. This ain't like in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
We're beating them, right? And some of them, a crowd of them, start chanting the N-word from the crowd. 2021. This is after George Floyd. This is after Black Lives Matter. This is 2021. This is May 2021. And then they were doing monkey sounds, right? But I had matured. I wouldn't have been able to handle that at 24. Right. But at 40, I laughed. I said, keep pressing them. Run them out the mother effing gym. Keep pressing them. Keep pressing them. Keep pressing them. They ain't bleep. They ain't this. F the mother effers. Keep pressing them. Keep it on. In a mature way, though. I mean, I'm still competitive, right? So we didn't have mercy. So we beat them at their place. And we weren't supposed to win. Like, they were supposed to win the championship. And they was all on commercials. They had these sponsorships with Pizza Hut. And we went in there and we beat them, right? And so it was a lot of vindication for me. But I just handled it. It's funny because I don't think that at 25 I wouldn't handle that right. But at 40, it's like, no, you don't got to go. You know what I mean? I ain't got to go get extracted again. I can just be cool, do what we're going to do, win the game, and say, all right, y'all guys have a good night, and walk out.
Right. Beat them, beat them with class. And then,
class, right. With class.
Now you're clapping your hands and you're excited about it, and you didn't even have to really raise your voice in that one time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But so now, man, like that's an amazing story, man. But like, so now I want to know, like, how did you leverage all of these different, these opportunities that you had to coach? Mm-hmm. How did you leverage that, man, to now the big leagues, man? You put your hat in the arena in WNBA, man. Now, first of all, I want to know, like, was it always a passion of yours to coach women as opposed to men, or did it kind of like fall in your lap that way? Or, how did that work out?
So even though my playing days, like earlier on, maybe dating back as far as maybe 2007, 2008, when I used to work out, my first person that I ever worked with, a coach that was a female, her name is Andrea Hines. She was some 6th grade, 7th grade little girl, getting on my nerves at the gym. Hey, teach me. I'm like, yo, man, I'm just trying to do my, no, teach me. And she was very persistent. So, come on, I'll show you one thing. And that started a thing, right? And so that was my first person I ever quote unquote trained, right? And but I was still training guys, all my guys I played with overseas, like the younger guys as I got older, I was still dealing with guys. We would work out at Drexel University every day. And I kind of became the head of the workout. I would still do the drills, but I was kind of conducting it. But I always had, a girls team as well, a group of girls that would come. And then I would be throwing, this kind of made me maybe different a little bit in Philly. My girls, if you wanted to work out, you wanted to be good, look, you got to come work out with the guys, with the boys, straight up. So we had 14, 15-year-old girls. You playing with my 17 and 18-year-old boys, right? And you better not cry. And we ain't cutting you no breaks. And if you fall, get up.
And you're playing with the big basketball, the regular size
basketball, right? But it was beautiful for them, right? Because what I was trying to teach them was, hey, excuses ain't gonna cut it, right? You're poor, right? You're poor. You don't have no chance but this, theoretically, right? Or you're the suburban kids. There were kids coming from Delaware, from Jersey. Some my white little babies from the suburbs, they would come down, and you just find how to push their buttons. The white girl, oh, you're a white girl from the suburb. You can't play no real ball, right? All right, come down to the projects or show me you can play. Right? Now, if you could do what I saw, if you could do it as these people, then maybe I'll think you're good. And they started doing it. And then they became winning. They started winning EYBL national championships, city championships, Catholic League championship, state championship. So then I started to get a buzz, right? I mean, hey, it's this crazy ball head dude. He be talking a lot, but this player, man, they rocking and rolling. You gotta come get with this guy. And we were training right at Gordon Reed High School, right across from Tasker Projects. And they was coming from everywhere. So I always had girls. I always had them. And then that kind of just transferred. This last year. I'm always in the game, and I worked with another young lady. Her name is Keisha Hampton. She played for the Sky back in the day. She was injured. She hurt herself. 2 knee surgeries or something like that, maybe 3. And I helped her with some rehab, kind of got back a little bit. And her best friend, one of her good friends, is 2021 WNBA Finals MVP, Kalia Copper. Kalia hits me up. See what I'm saying? So it's all interconnected. She hit me up. Yo, I'm in the city. I'm not going overseas during the winter. You know, the women of WNBA. Winter, they overseas. Summer, WNBA.
Right.
Yo, can we get in the gym? I'm like, well, I mean, for a Finals MVP, I think I could make some time, right?
Right.
So I did that in the interim.
You get in the gym.
Of course, right? And I'm coaching women's basketball at the same time at a Division II university, Millersville University. So I'm waking up in the morning, right? I was like working at a school, right? I have like a teaching certificate, a degree in psych. So I'm working at a school until 12. I'm training Kalia from like 12 to like 2, something like that. And then I'm taking a 2.5-hour commute to Lancaster, Pennsylvania every day on the train to coach women's basketball Division II, get back to the city 11 o'clock at night, 11:30, wake up, go to sleep, wake up 5 in the morning, do it all over again.
Do it all over again.
From October to like whenever the Sky signed me, April.
Now, how did that happen though? Like in terms of the Sky, like I mean that's a big deal. You know what I'm saying? That's the WNBA. That's the big league. That's the big arenas. Yeah. So did you know what I'm saying? Did you feel any kind of was there any kind of like, wow, I can't believe I'm here now type of vibes with you, or was it just all something that, you know what I'm saying, that you kind of took in stride and I'm supposed to be here? You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's probably, I guess, like a two-pronged situation. The first thing that I would say is that was never my intention, not one bit, right? My intention was, you know, to help a sister out from my city that needed the help. I mean, like I didn't like, you know how these trainers, you know how it is. Oh, I made this person, I made that person, right? That's never been my vibe, right? She already was the MVP, the doggone final. She already was an All-American big guy. She was already all everything at Rutgers. You know what I mean? That's what she already was. So when she came to me, it was like, yo, we just got to add like a little bit of this one little thing. You know what I mean? And my whole thing was, I don't want anything from you. Because I hate these scumbags today that are trying to use people, use children, leverage friendships, put people in awkward situations to elevate yourself. So I'm just a believer, you know, if you work hard, keep God first, and try to be a good, genuine person to people, right? Try to be a good dude, right? It'll work out for you. So I never said, yo, bro, oh, can you put me in the Sky? I never said anything like that. Right. I'm coaching in college. That's what I'm thinking, right? I'm doing that. She go, her ownership, the old coach, head coach James Wade, you know, God bless him. She go to Team USA camp. She doing her thing. She like, oh, I'm working out with this guy, whatever. They come down to Philly. We go to a Sixers game. We get a cheesesteak, and we just talk basketball, right? Me and him sit next to each other for 2.5 hours. Watch. Oh, you see you play this? Oh, yeah, I'm going to go high screen and roll right here. Yeah, you should do that. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Oh, they made ice in it. No, he should flip the screen. You flip it, it'll be 2 hours, right? Cool. 3 weeks later, they going to Paris, the Chicago Bulls or Chicago Sky. They invite me to go.
Wow. and the rest is history.
Yo, I mean, you're a basketball guy. You there with the Bulls as well?
Oh yeah, that's tough. I was like, wow. I'm here now.
Listen. The Bulls, they had all 6 rings, and it was on the table, and they're like glowing. It's like, yeah, like, oh my gosh, I'm getting lightheaded looking at the Bulls now. Like, I can't believe it. I'm from Section 8 houses. The Bull, like I can see it. It's got the red ruby bull. It's on there. I'm looking at it right now.
With horns on it. Like,
oh. With horns on it, right? The guy says to the owner, yo, put it on. I said, I couldn't. I just couldn't. I couldn't. No, go ahead. Wow. It's just the ring. I said, no, that's joy. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Michael Jordan walked through these halls. Right. Oh, this is his ring. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's tough.
Right. So, I mean, from that perspective, it was like, I always was confident and I always felt like I should be there. Because what else are you supposed to think? If you don't feel like you should be there, then you shouldn't be there. Right?
Yeah.
Right. But on the other hand, I never want to lose the love that you have as a child. Like the same love that I had as a kid, hearing the stories about Wilt Chamberlain, all the New York City guys, right? Earl the Goat Man, this is, we're close. So, when guys were good around our way, it was, he good, but there's a guy named Shaheen Holloway up over here, right? Or in our era, right? Oh, yeah, you doing all right, but you ain't better than Talik Brown, who else? Omar Cook and Andre Barrett, all three of them better than you, right? So I always knew the history, knew the stories, kind of felt that thing, and it just fascinated me. So even as a 42-year-old man, I know that I belong there, but I'm still in love with everything. I don't want to miss any moments. So it's a blessing for me every day.
That's tough, man. That's inspiring, man. I hope that people, take these stories, man, absorb these stories, for what they worth, man. And I feel like I'm there. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm trying on the rings myself. I was like, yeah, you ain't trying the ring. I'd have definitely tried on the ring, but in terms of like I've done a little bit of just kind of looking at some of the some of the things that you've done. And what was kind of most inspiring, man, you had told a story about a woman, a woman that's on the team that actually had a baby. You know what I'm saying? And that's a whole nother dynamic that that is kind of unheard of because men don't go through that. They just go through their, if they have a baby, with their wives or whatever the case may be, so be it. But for a woman to actually have a child and kind of rebound from that physically,
right,
and to be, to kind of get herself back into playing shape or whatever the case may be, just to kind of get back into being a regular human, you know what I'm saying, it's tough, let alone a professional athlete. But tell me what kind of, what goes into that motivation? What goes into that kind of, from your perspective, what goes into that from, in terms of helping somebody get themselves back?
So I think the first thing is
And what's her name? What's her name, by the way?
Her name is Ruthie Hibbert.
Shout out to Ruthie.
Yeah, shout out to Ruthie for sure. Yeah, I'll show her this. She's gonna love it. Right? She came back 87 days postpartum, so not even 3 months. Right? And it was a collective effort. I mean, obviously Ruthie did all the work. Like she did all the work, right? But you have our strength and conditioning coach, which is Ann Crosby, right? So, I mean, I'm talking about like when I first arrived with the Sky, I saw her son Xavier, like this is a few days after he's born. Like it doesn't even know his eyes are open yet, right? And she's walking on this treadmill, man. It's on like 0.1, like just minimal. We just had a baby, right? And so Ann is working on her motor skills, regaining the motor skills, right? And then you have our athletic training staff, so like the team doctors kind of thing, and they're monitoring everything she's doing. And then I'm in charge of her basketball stuff. So between us three groups are working together collectively. And then obviously Ruthie doing all the work. Now the thing about the WNBA is, you don't have practice facilities yet, right? Some teams do, but still developing. So you're at like a high-end fitness center, a club. So you don't have all day to be in there. Right. So the practice, it might start 10 to 12 to 1 extra work if you want. Extra work might be start at 8 o'clock. So if Ruthie's going to get her hour basketball workout in, when she got to come in? 7, 6:45. You a mom with a newborn. I never had a baby. I don't have any children yet, right? If you got to be there at 6:45, what time you got to get to the gym? Right. 6:15, you got to get taped, all that stuff. How much sleep did you get with a newborn?
None.
See what I'm saying? None. And she the mom. But dad, you don't get no sleep. Mom, every time baby, she's jumping up, right? So there were times where Ruthie and Logan, which the baby's father, Xavier's father, he come in, he tired. She come in, she tired. Right? Sometimes Logan be there, sometimes you don't be there. Most times he's there. Ruthie might be tying up her shoes. I done took turns walking that baby around the gym in a stroller, but she getting loose, walking them, right? And done took times walking them. Logan, his father, he's walking them all the time, right? So I'm trying to get her right. And then the baby might cry, a different cry. Moms know them kind of thing. And she kind of trying to half focus on what we're doing, half see what's up with the baby. So in my book,
natural instinct. Yeah, natural.
She's the ultimate warrior. I ain't never seen nothing like that in my life, right? And she's coming back, and you have one baby, change your life, change your body forever.
Right.
Your body, you might not, girl have a baby, man, that might be it. Right? A whole different woman after this. And for her to come back, to even be more athletic, right? Just her attitude every morning, it was one of the things that I'm most proud of. I'm just getting started in the WNBA, but one of the things I'm most proud of, because it's just one of those stories where when you got to lock arms with somebody and kind of go to battle, and it wasn't always pretty. We had ups and downs, and then I had to test her at times. Like she, at times where you think you should get cleared, but it's a setback, so you might be another 2 weeks. You've been busting your time to come back, and people want to know when you coming back, that kind of thing. And then there were times where she want to play, and I'm like, you know what? Because I didn't trust anybody with her.
Right.
Like I gotta see myself before I say, all right, I'm just signing off on it. So we would play, man, 1-on-1, half court, just half court, and then full court the short way. Ultimately, 1-on-1, full court the long way. And I didn't treat her like a mother. I treated her like somebody in the streets, because I needed to know that she could deal with the physicality before she go out there and go play against Brittany Griner or somebody like that. I needed to know that she could get hit and she wasn't going to fold. And she would get so upset. Man, she would get mad, man. And that's when I found out who she was as a person. I talked to, because she's from Alaska, right? I would, how I go. You say anything you could think of.
That's tough.
You ain't, Trajan Langdon ain't walking through that door. You ain't no Carlos Boozer. I never even heard of you. And here she is, 3-time All-American at Oregon, right? Oh, yeah. Right. And she would get so upset, man. And then that dog came out of her. And then she kind of forgot, oh yeah, I'm supposed to be slow and heavy and whatever right now. And the thing that made her All-American at Oregon, a 3-time All-American at Oregon, right? When you get in that real fight, it come out. Yeah. And next thing I know, she was back. So that's one of my things I'm most proud of, man.
Man. Shout out to her, man. That's so inspirational. You know what I'm saying? When I heard that story, I'm like, wow, man, I can't even fathom, some mothers don't even, they don't even, some mothers, God bless them, man, they don't even make it through the childbirth, you know what I'm saying? Let alone come back as a professional athlete, man, and excel in that manner. So salute to her, man. Salute to everything that she's done, along with the rest of the team, because I'm sure they have their own stories as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
But yeah, man, I definitely wanted to be respectful of your time. You know what I'm saying? We a little bit over the hour mark, but I did have one more for you, man. I lined up a ton of questions for you, but it was fantastic, man, in terms of the stories that you've told tonight on this on this line. But looking ahead, man, what are your goals and aspirations within the world of women's basketball? And I'm saying, like how do you hope to contribute to the next generation of players and coaches as well?
Yeah. Well, I've just come to learn. I'm still very competitive. So my aspirations is to just be to be the very best. Right. That's for one. It's kind of changed, like the framework of it as I got older. I realized that you become great, right, by your service to people. Right. So like me, Chaz Franklin, the basketball player, I had a decent run. It was all right. right? And that come and go. But I'm realizing that the more people you can service, the more people you can try to be a blessing to, the more people you can help, right? The more Ruthies you can help, the more Dana Evans and the Marinas and the Kalia Cop and all these people you can help, right? By default, the higher you try to push them, right, it also raises your profile as well, right? So that was not my intention getting into it, but it's kind of like where I am today. I just want to make sure, because we all gonna have our day, right? And I just want to make sure that when I lay my head to rest finally, right, it'll people say, "Oh yeah, that was a genuine guy right there." Right, he was great at his job. He came early, he stayed late, he gave us everything he had, and I respect that brother right there. And he did his thing, and so that's the legacy that I want to leave. And I want to be the very best at it ever. And that's where I'm at with it.
Yo, man, I really appreciate you, man. Like, even, you know what I'm saying, you even extended yourself to give me some tickets to the when I think you guys played the Liberty.
Yeah.
At the Barclays. So I really appreciate you, man. I'm super proud of you, man. You know what I mean? Yo, man, like just to have, one of my own, you know what I'm saying, one of my own colleagues or my friends, that I came up the ranks with, you know what I'm saying? We was just in the calf.
Right. Yep.
We was just in the calf, not, without a dime in our pockets and looking, looking forward to Ogden Hall and, you know what I'm saying, and things like that.
Yep.
So again, man, I'm super proud of you, all your accomplishments, man. Thank you for, granting this All Things Hoops exclusive on Legends Talk. And you, my man, you're a true legend. You do it with class and humility. And you know what I'm saying? I really appreciate you, man. For real.
Same here, man. Please keep up the good work, man. Your platform is absolutely marvelous, man.
No doubt, man. No doubt, bro. Peace out, man. Love is love, bro.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you.